In this video, I'm going to be going through how to use the cosine rule to find missing sides and angles in triangles. Now, to find missing sides and angles in triangles, if you look at what I've done here. So the first thing now, if the triangle is a right angle triangle, yes, are two sides given? If they are, then use Pythagoras. Okay, the first thing we did with trigonometry. Now, if two sides are not given, then you need to use SOHCAHTOA. So both of these are just for right angle triangles. So now if it is not a right angle triangle, is there a matching pair? So of a side and an angle? If there is, we use the sine rule, which was in the previous video. But if there is not a matching pair, then that is when we need to use the cosine rule. So this is the cosine rule here. So a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. So you can see a here. So a squared is equal to b squared and c squared minus 2bc of the cos of this angle here. So before going into this, so as you can see, the cosine rule is a squared. So that is if you're finding a side. But we need to do a bit of rearranging if we need to find an angle using the cosine rule. So let's just do a bit of rearranging with the formula. So I want to get cos A on its own because cos A is my angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the minus 2bc over to the left. So that's going to make it a positive. So I have 2bc cos A now on the left. Then I'm going to bring the a squared over to the right. So on the right now I have b squared plus c squared minus a squared. Now again, I want cos A on its own, but there's a 2bc in front of that. So now cos A is equal to, bring the 2bc across and divide. So cos A is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. Now, if you're a bit unsure of rearranging formula, make sure you revise it because you need to be able to do this properly in an exam if you need to use the cosine rule to find an angle. Okay, let's have a look here at an example. So you can see on top here, we have the formula which is given to us in the exam and the rearranged version then when we need to find an angle. Okay, so this question here, we need to find x. So that would be the a squared. So I'm going to write down the formula. A squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. Let's sub in now what we have. So a is going to be x. So it's going to be x squared is equal to b, that'll be 8 squared, plus c squared. So c is going to be 15. 15 squared minus 2, remember b is 8, c is 15, and then cos of a, which is going to be 85. So now I have x squared equals 8 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 8 times 15 times cos of 85. So now because it's x squared, I'm just going to square root my right hand side. So 8 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 8 times 15 times the cos of 85. So let's put all this into the calculator. Remember, if you have a Casio, there'll be another set of brackets inside around our angle. Okay, so let's put this into the calculator now. And that gets us 16.37. And the question said correct to one decimal place, so that means x is equal to 16.4. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at when we need to find an angle. So you can see in this question we have three sides and then we need to find x. So I'm going to write out the formula for angles. Remember again, in the exam you're just given formula on the left, so then you need to rearrange it to get cos A on its own. So if cos A is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. So in this one, it's going to be cos of x, because that's the angle. And I can see 9 is opposite that, so that's going to be my a. Okay, so then 6 would be b, and 5 would be c. So putting in these values now, so b squared will be 6 squared, then plus c squared, so we have 5 squared, minus a squared, which is 9 squared. All over 2bc, so 2 times 6 times 5. So all this now goes into our calculator. So when you put all of this into the calculator, that gets us minus a third. So cos x equals minus a third. Now we're finding an angle. So remember, when you're finding an angle, that's when you need to use the inverse. So I'm doing inverse cos a third. Sorry, minus a third. So inverse cos minus a third. So using the second function, there's shift buttons using the calculator. And that gets us 109.47. And to one decimal place, that would be 109.5 degrees. So now let's try these two yourself. So you can see on the left, you're finding the side of x, and the right, you're finding the angle of x. And neither are drawn correctly, because you can see that they're completely out of proportion. Okay, so if you want to pause the video now and try both of these. Now, let's see how you did. So you can see on the right, you should end up with 4.7. And the right then, 62.7 degrees. Remember, on the one on the right, you had to use the rearranged version of the formula. Okay, hope that helped. Any questions, please leave in the comments. Thank you.